I'd like to welcome you to this session. And it's a fairly unique session because everybody's talking about AI, of course. If you've been in any show over the last 12 months, at least, it's been the main theme. And we're going to take a slightly different angle here today. But just to situate the size of the market, by 2030, AI will be a $5 trillion business around the world. And the telecom-specific part of that, depending on whose numbers you look at, is somewhere between 50 and 100 billion. If you look for the MENA region itself, and let me read this out, the economic impact by 2030 is going to be $320 billion US, which is really quite huge, with the UAE expected to have 14% of its 2030 GDP attributable to AI, whilst KSA will have the largest dollar amount contribution of 135 billion. So big table stakes. You will have seen across the world huge build-outs of AI infrastructure, people building data centers everywhere, people being concerned about having enough power. But actually, very few people have spoken about what it means for telecom networks. And that's why I'm delighted today to have this esteemed panel of Jassim, Sudhir, and Mohamed to discuss this theme, and I'll just let them introduce themselves before we get into it. Jassim.
Thank you, Carl, for this introduction. I'm Dr. Jassim Awadhi. I used to work for Do Telecom and the UAE, and now moved to Emirates MBD in the financial sector. And there is a reason behind my move from the telecom sector to the financial sector. And it's all about digital transformation and AI integration. So this is an introduction, and we'll explain it further while we discuss.
Thank you, Jassim. Sudhir.
I'm Sudhir Juggernath, CEO of TelCables South Africa. We are owned by Angola Cables. We have big investments in 3 submarine cables on the west coast of Africa. Currently, we are the #1 most interconnected operator in Africa. So this topic is very important for us. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mohamed. Thank you, Carl, for the introduction. I'm Mohamed, Senior Global Director for Rakuten, 25 plus experience in the IT field. Thank you for joining us today. Speaking about AI and digital transformation, which is a key topic not only across the region here, but mainly on a global scale. And I'm happy to talk with you today in this topic. Thank you.
Thank you all. And until the room fills up, just a warning here, we'll be asking exam questions of people in the audience as we get to the end, so please listen in. So, AI, we've spoken, a lot has been said about AI-enabled data centers, and a lot has been done in that area. But as far as telecom networks go, what would an AI-native telecom network look like, actually? Mohamed, how would you like to kick us off on that one? Lot of expressions with self-healing, self-optimizing. So, what would it look like?
I think, like we previously talked, offline, network is a baseline connectivity across any infrastructure-related topic, and we saw that AI has been enhanced in various fields, and as well as from an infrastructure perspective. And now we are talking about NAS, right? And how we can enable AI in this particular field, which is the network, how we can enhance the productivity, how we can have a quick overview on the predictive network, as well as how we can enhance our services for our customer. So from that perspective, I think that the AI field is mandatory. How we can enable AI over this layer is the journey and definitely the strategy that a lot of actors now are taking over. And I will elaborate a little bit later, but this is basically what my means in that particular field.
Sudhir?
Yeah, I think just to add to that, I think it's about creating efficiency and enhancing the customer experience. So, to keep it very simple, I think that's what the ideal AI in the network should be.
Okay, and Jassim?
So for digital transformation or AI tool and system, if we look at different sectors or different organizations, we see in the market there's a lot of talks on AI integration. But when it comes to the telecom sector and the telecom service providers, not only here in the United Arab Emirates, but if you look at the region, the Middle East, or globally, telecom sector service providers, they are a bit lag or a bit late in digital transformation and AI integration when it comes to the network operation or network optimization. In that telecom or in the telecom sector or telecom service providers, a lot of use cases, it is more in customer service, customer experience, product design, and product marketing, or in the other side in the sales field. But when it comes to network operation, network optimization, and infrastructure, they are a bit lagging there. It could be because of the complexity on where to have the demarcation or how deep you need to integrate props within the network to get that data field to feed your AI algorithms or AI model. It's different than the other sectors like the financial sector or the healthcare sector. They are more advanced. Even the use cases are more from AI developers or the AI providers. It could be because of the simplicity of the infrastructure. It's not that complicated like the telecom network. And again, it comes the mindset of the leadership. If you have a leader that they are more open to such cognitive technology, they believe on the power of artificial intelligence and how to meet customer expectation. When I say customer expectation, your external customers who are using your service or the internal customers, your employees, how to boost them, how to give them that enablements to increase their efficiency, their performance when they do their day-to-day work. And in addition, this will put more efficiency on the way of working. That's why when you look at digital transformation, it's not only it's a technology transformation, but it is a combination of different transformation altogether. It's a technology transformation, it is business model transformation, it is a culture transformation, and it is business process optimization transformation altogether.
Thanks, Jassim. And that prompts a number of thoughts because, we started the question with what's an AI native network look like. But in reality, as you all know, the IT infrastructure at most telecom operators is one that's been built over many, many years with patches here and there. And to give an example, obviously without stating which operator this is, I worked on a project with an operator who from the CRM system to the billing system had 8 different IT systems, and the interface between them was individuals sitting on swivel chairs. So before we get to the futuristic, self-healing, self-optimizing networks, to what extent do you believe that AI can be a shortcut to fixing some of these issues? Because to what you were saying about customer experience, it's all about having customer information, whether the latest order, the latest invoice, et cetera, can AI agents cut through or paper over, let's say, this lack of data homogeneity that resides within most telcos? Jassim.
On the way how the infrastructure look like today after the launch of the organization till today. A lot of platforms, a lot of integration. Now it's look like an spaghetti. In some cases, it is more difficult to upgrade even sometime. That lead sometime when you have a new feature to be added, the level, even if it's a small feature, the level of effort required is a lot, because you need to rethink on what are the chain of platforms that you need to update, you need to do a change on to have that small feature life. That's why a lot of organization, not a specific and not in a specific sector, when they think of artificial intelligence integration, they have a prayer project called digital transformation and moving from their brownfield infrastructure to greenfield. So they are building a new infrastructure, new platforms, ready and compatible with the new cognitive technologies, and switch over from the brownfield to greenfield. Therefore, they will be able to integrate artificial intelligence, different type of artificial intelligence tool and system, more efficient, more effective, to meet the customer expectation and customer need without that hectic. And in addition to that, this will have a better or a positive, efficient impact on the cost of developments and the effort that it takes from the employees and from the vendor, if you are dealing with vendors, to have the effective implementation event.
Okay, thank you for that. And in terms of additional services, or let's say better service delivery and optionality, what are the key things you think would be sellable to customers? Sudhir, we had a conversation earlier about customers being able to have ultimate optionality in picking an end-to-end route. What are the kind of things that you would expect an AI, let's not say native, but AI fully enabled network to provide, which can be monetized by operators?
Thanks for that. I think, it's about why we need to use AI. And I think in the right context, to add to what Dr. Jassim was saying, telcos traditionally have old thinking processes, old applications, multiple points of failures, multiple points of upgrades. Adding AI to this so-called spaghetti mix. You know, it just makes it simpler in terms of managing, monitoring, upgrading, rerouting applications if anything fails into a different platform or different service. So I think from a telco perspective, if we look at an AI agent or AI in use for today, we know that there's cables down in the Red Sea. If you had an AI application at the back end, the AI will find the shortest or next best path, automatically rerouting the traffic or your information through that path. So I think that's where the efficiency would come in from.
And how about things like accelerating service provisioning? I know, Mohamed, because usually when one talks about a NAS platform, if you're an SDN-enabled network, you can literally turn up a circuit in minutes. If you don't, you're talking days, weeks, sometimes longer. Even with some of the largest carriers who've spent so much money. So,
I believe that putting AI in the heart of the network, in the heart of when I say our, is mainly on the enterprise level and the telco provider strategy, and how they can switch quickly, because time is money, definitely, right? And if they can switch to a failure, to a productivity environment, and to have a distributed network, we talk about that as well, definitely, is key. It's requiring a lot in regards to the technology field, but essentially, it also requires humans, right? We are here in the decision chain, and if we are transitioning to the technology, many actors are also forgetting about who's going to drive this technology. How are we going to scale our capabilities in order to achieve the business goals? Because at the end of the day, we need to be positive, right? And because there are competitors in the markets, how we can be unique in such kind of scenario. So AI, being AI-driven, is definitely from all the big actors in their roadmap. Yes, I mean, from the small company to the giants. So how are they going to deploy? How are they going to have the penetration on the markets is where their agility is coming. And they're being agile, having the right resources, having the right technology in place can enable all these if I would say, impact and positive impact on the markets. If you ask me my personal opinion, AI is now sometimes too marketing, and it's too much in regards to the point of we are AI, but sometimes people are also confused between enabling a bot into an internet page and the landing page on their website, and they're enabling AI, which is the intelligence on the network and how we can enhance the productivity, enhance the service, enhance the business, and at the end of the goal, and the end of the day, having the revenue, positive revenue on the company side. This is basically how I see AI. And as well as if we're more going into the integrity of AI, AI has a lot, right? And we also talk about that data scientists and machine learning just before, and I think this is very key, right? I mean, having the right and the cleanest data into the AI, how you train your AI, what is the outcome, that you are expecting from your AI, I think it's really key. And it should be in the prior study before starting to think about AI. How we can elevate AI into our organization to help, like Dr. Jassim said as well, internal and external, customer.
I think, Carl, just to add to that topic, I mean, from a network perspective, humans will always design the strategy. I think that's fundamental.
Thankfully.
We must not be fooled about that. Humans will do that because we understand the architecture of that. AI will come in to make it more efficient, more effective, more simple, more streamlined. because that's the power of the compute, right? They can do far much more than we can do. So, that's the fundamentals. And when it comes to the networking, the AI agent or the AI bot can go and self-provision 2,000, 5 million boxes, devices, ship it out automatically, it gets delivered, plug it in, it connected automatically, right? So that's the efficiency. I think that's the differentiator that the telcos need to look at, where we need to be more advanced in how we connect the unconnected in the simplest way.
Yeah, 100%. And do you think that the need to deliver AI services with the kind of latency and reliability that's required will dictate different network infrastructure designs and routes as we go towards a more distributed kind of architecture?
Yeah, I strongly believe that. I mean, we were having this conversation earlier on. We need to have a distributed layout of key AI resources. I mean, we're living in this world where there's political issues that can constrain certain connectivity ways, and today we're living in this. The Red Sea 5-6 cables, submarine cables are down, our internet speeds are down, the access to data is down. The days of accessing data and real-time applications from the US, I think, or far west needs to change, or even going up north needs to change. I think the Middle East is a key region, key location to move the workloads of the US into the Middle East and keep it central so it can be serviced from Africa and from the East. And it creates some kind of resilience, right? And not dependency on so much of capacity and undersea cables. So I think distributed architecture, that's the next way.
Okay, totally agree. Moving on to theme of cybersecurity, right? When you look at all the billions of devices that are going to be connected to these networks, there's so many points of vulnerability, and given that bad actors also use AI, how do you see this, I'm tempted to call it a video game, right, of AI with the good guys and AI with the bad guys playing out. Clearly a role for humans in that, but how do you see this evolving? Because that's actually big table stakes.
If
anybody
I may,
can go.
Yeah. I mean, let me just go a little bit back to your question and how cybersecurity has been seen for the past few years, right? I mean, it's like back in the COVID when we do need developers, and we had a lot of companies like hiring developers because of their needs. And after COVID, like, we hired too much people. So in that regard, cybersecurity become central because of the threat, because of the exposure of the company, and how they have been also been hacked in the public space. And a lot of stakeholders, board members, haven't thought about the impact of this particular field in the company. And we had a 360 completely overview into the companies and stating that cybersecurity has been now in the heart of our investment. And afterwards saying, okay, do we need a CIO? Do we need a CISO? So it's also coming to a point of double positions into the IT fields inside the companies. Coming to the point of how cybersecurity will enable enable the revenues. I mean, we have to have the most secure network in order to have the best service to sell, without being very difficult in our processes, internal processes, and without being, exposed in the public. So it's a really difficult equation, right? And what is the adoptions in the services? What are the tools that we're gonna enable in order to achieve this roadmap? So cybersecurity is all time, coming either at the end of the chain of the decision, either in the beginning of the chain of the decisions. And a lot of companies now come to a point having a cybersecurity board, right? And next to the board of directors stating on how they can phase cybersecurity into the business. So for me, IT and telco is one. I mean, before, telco was a completely separate industry, and we don't need IT, or at least we just have data center in order to enable connectivity. Rather now, when you see a telco engineer and an IT engineer, it's the same, basically. So, and this is what's gonna come definitely into the cybersecurity field as well. So people which have been working for a long time in the IT industry, gonna shift as well to the telco industry. So on that perspective, it should stay hand to hand with the business. It should completely be embedded in any project, any process internally into their company and into the roadmap. And the takeover here is like, it should not penalize or just be how to say, a blocker into the solution which is going to be deployed in the company field.
Okay, thank you for that. One other question I had is that, you know, a holy grail for many operators is to participate in what they call the global virtual on-net, meaning that for any customer between any A and B point, you can have 2, 3 operators, and you've got seamless end-to-end connectivity. Everybody's got a NAS platform these days, even if they don't really know what a NAS platform is. But you know, end users expect a seamless end-to-end experience. So my question is, can AI, again, cut through the difficulty here and facilitate that once and for all for carriers, or is it still too complex a question to resolve? I know, who would like to have a go?
Well, try.
Thanks.
Thanks. I think there's two things here. First thing is competition, which means the different NAS players being competitors need to work together. And there's a trust issue, which is in the telco world totally unbeknown. So I like to do my own thing, and I will do my own thing, and that's it. And each operator is the same, and I don't trust the other operator. So, you know, that's the mindset we need to change. You know, coming back to the discussion we had, I think with having the right AI agent, the right APIs, that, you know, it's trust. So the agent will connect to each of the NAS platforms through a closed API, and the agent will control the best path when there's a failure. But then it's about, you know, the human thing about trusting that AI agent, and that API can be hacked, and, you know, there's a whole lot of things. But I think there is a possibility. I think it can be done, and that will probably be the future where you get interconnected NAS platforms.
Yeah, I agree 100% that trust and humans still have a big role to play in this. When you look across the whole ecosystem, you know, there are large players, but there's a myriad of small actors who have interesting solutions. Do you think this is an opportunity for there to be a more integrated and broader ecosystem of partnerships between telecom operators and software startups? Anybody like to have a go at that?
Again, maybe me, yeah. I think I have the perfect example internally in Rakuten, which is a Japanese company, right? And they have been thinking, and our CEO was thinking about how can I drive telco, and as well as bringing software. So you have two ways to do it. Either you go by acquisition, and you take those small actors in-house, or either you build your own teams, which is gonna also take a lot of time, and you know, in order to penetrate the market, sometimes you can be late. So the CEO has been going to the first option, looking around and having a quick overview on who can be acquired and how fast they can deliver into the market. So short answer here is small actors can benefit into being acquired by your biggest ones, and afterwards getting to a point of those big companies selling those kind of services globally for other companies.
I think I'd like to add to that, Carl, because I think the new thing we'll probably see, if we're not seeing it already, is acquisitions. Mm-hmm. You know, whether it's big players acquiring big players or big players acquiring smaller companies, you know, that's what we're going to see in the next future. And the reason for that is because, to your point, you know, there's startups. Startups are doing much more efficient things than the big carriers. They are taking a fair chunk of the carrier's market. You know, so at some point, the big carriers, or the big companies are going to see this, and you know that's where the startups need to be much more, much more acceptable of being acquired. So I think we will see that, and there's definitely a play for startups and big carriers to either work together or be acquired. So we'll see that in the future.
Sounds like a good business opportunity for us to discuss offline there. I have one last question, but before that, I'd just like to see whether there's any questions from the audience. Anybody? Any brave person has a question? Or even a not so brave person?
Well, lunch for the first question, I guess. No?
Okay, so my last question then is, clearly, as much as AI is evolving elsewhere, it's very much at the beginning of the journey for telecom operators. So how long do you think this journey is? And what will be the 2 steps between where we are today, well, more steps probably, between where we are today and having some streamlined, true AI telecom infrastructure? Maybe start with Jassim.
Yeah, for telecom service providers, still from the leaders, they believe on their core services, the voice, data, and the value-added services. That's why I feel that integrating AI, more advanced AI, will take a bit longer time, especially in this sector. Since the legacy services is still, they are milking it. Still, there is a revenue from those legacy services. Although some service providers, they change their structure from look at their organization, not a telco organization, but a technology transformation. But still, if you look at their activities, they are more still focused on the legacy services and have less focus on the integration or the development of AI and integrating AI in their core services and developing something for the customers as well.
Okay, thanks, Jassim. Sudhir.
I believe it shouldn't be that long. I think the smaller ISPs, carriers, are using AI to their advantage, and they're finding the efficiency and the benefits from that. So it's a matter of time where the bigger carriers will see that. I mean, there's complexities in the bigger carriers in terms of the applications. The smaller ones have less, easier control. So I think in the next 2 or 3 years, I think it's evident. Mm-hmm. The smaller carriers are doing it. They're seeing the efficiencies. The bigger carriers are following close by. So I think it's a matter of 2 or 3 years.
Okay, good.
I think it's a little bit more. Just if we can take in consideration how the telecom provider is also adopting Open RAN, right? It's a very slow motion, and like you said, guys, definitely the infrastructure is a heavy infrastructure, and telecom, they cannot have any downtime. So how they can be prepared in order to transform their infrastructure? And unfortunately, today, their infrastructure is a closed infrastructure. It's not an infrastructure which can be expanded or open to different other technologies. So for them, it's either you completely shift your infrastructure to a new technology, and it's going to take super long time, or either you build in parallel other technology which enable, services. So for me, AI can be a driver, definitely. How it's going to penetrate the market, it's going to be a little bit longer.
Okay, so a few different views on the timeline, but I think everybody acknowledges this is a bit like a ski jump. Once you've started and you got in the rails, you've got to go with it. So it just depends how long it's going to take to get there. So with that, our time's up. I'd like to thank you all for attending, and my sincere thanks to Dr. Jassim, to Sudhir, and to Mohamed for making this a super interesting panel. Thank you very much, and give them a big round of applause, please.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.